Lead together, embrace change, enhance everyone's journey. The 3 core principles of SmartStop, a leader in self-storage real estate across North America, reinforce why we're proud to bring you CEO Lead In, the podcast featuring curated conversations with powerful women sharing their impactful wisdom. It's a self-knowledge, self-discovery, and self-preneurship audio storage vault created by and for women. SmartStop's presentation of CEO Lead In begins right now.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the CEO Leading In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of CEO Lead In. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights, despite their sometimes rocky paths, and found a way to lead in. Today we're here with Ana Hutz from Namaste Fitness. How are you today, Ana?
Good, how are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am very excited to hear about your story. I love entrepreneurship and all of the things that drive us to do things like that. But I want to start out just a fun story to break the ice of when you were a child that you might want to share with our listeners that maybe not everyone knows about you.
A fun story from my childhood. Well, I went to Catholic school all my life, from first grade all the way through high school. And we had to play the nativity set, like for the Christmas play. We had to like do our part and see, like everybody had to participate. So I always wanted to be Virgin Mary because I thought that was the cool, thing to do, the main role. And I applied and I got the part. I was going to be Virgin Mary. But then on the day of, somebody else showed up as Virgin Mary. So then I just ended up being like one of the sheep in the background. And I still remember that story. Like since then, I don't think anybody knows, and probably not a lot of people would care, but I still remember.
Wow.
And I was not the main part. I was a sheep.
Well, how did someone else show up?
I know.
That's what I'm wondering.
I know. I don't know how they took my part.
Oh, wow. I know. Okay, well, I was going to ask you about one word that describes you best. I'm actually thinking forgiving.
Yeah. It's like, okay, let it go. Maybe that's what took me all the way to where I am now. Like, let it go. Something better will come along.
All right. So, well, then what is one word that you think describes yourself?
For the longest time, I thought about this word. And then one day when they asked my husband, what word do you think would describe your wife? And he said it as well. So I think this is my word. And my word is determined. Like, that is, I am determined to see things through. I am determined to do the things I have to do, the things I commit to do. Determination, like I don't give up.
That's a really good quality, and something really important for starting a business. So tell us a little bit about Namaste and how you started that.
Well, Namaste Fitness is a yoga and fitness studio. So we mixed the yoga practices, different modalities, with the fitness portion. We wanted people to move in different ways. And we know that not everybody wants to do the go, sweating, classes. So we thought that with the yoga, it would be a good mix. So we started our business in 2018. And it happened because I have 2 kids and they are 11 months apart. So when I got pregnant with my son, I gained like 65 pounds. I gained a lot of weight. I enjoyed the pregnancy, eating everything, not exercising at all. Was born. A month and a half later, I got pregnant with my daughter. So that kind of pushed me to start exercising, taking care of myself, more consciously. So when she was born, I started walking, I started going to the gym, and then that's where I found yoga. So I wanted to try it to lose weight. And then I took a class, and all the things that you do in a yoga class let me know that it wasn't about exercising, and it was a little bit deeper. It was about just finding yourself and doing something good for you that also makes you better with others. And so I found a yoga studio because I wanted to continue on that. That studio was going to go up for sale. So they were looking for buyers. And I told my husband, hey, they're selling the studio. Imagine if one day we could have our own studio. And as soon as I said that, he's like, well, let's try it now, which I never expected him to say. And we went for it. We got a loan. We went into contract, got our lawyers. And a week before we got the keys, the owner said, never mind, I changed my mind. And that was about a 6-month process. So I was determined to have a yoga studio at that point. So we drove around and, for different locations, open spaces. And like a week later, I found the space that we are in now. As soon as I saw it, I said, this is my studio, signed the lease, started construction. 6 months later, we opened our doors. And now, a week ago, we just opened our second location, which just so happens to be the studio we were buying 6 years ago because they closed their doors and then we took over.
Wow, that is incredible. I would say relentlessly determined.
Yeah,
that's really incredible.
It just happened, but it happened at the right time.
Yes, of course.
So that's what I always say. It wasn't meant to be 6 years ago. It was meant to be now.
Wow, that's really incredible. What'd you do before?
I was a bank manager. I worked for Chase, and I was there for almost 8 years.
Wow.
Doing all the bank operations, handling money, customer service, all that stuff. And then when my daughter was born, I left the bank, was a stay-at-home mom. And about a year later is when I started, doing yoga, all of this. And then we opened the studio. So then I became an entrepreneur at that point.
And also an evolver. Definitely an evolver. I love that. So how do you measure success and failure? Because I'm sure, I kind of think the story of trying to buy that first place, them changing their mind, then you going back 6 years later, that's super cool. That really is cool.
Yeah, I wish I could say I don't feel a little bit of, oh yeah, I did it. But I do. And really, our success within this industry in yoga, more than, I have a, $1 million business. It's more of how have I been changing lives of the people I serve?
Yeah.
I always tell my staff, yes, we're a business. Yes, we have to pay salaries. We have to pay rent. But it really is a service that we provide to our students to help them be better and feel better. So really the stories of everybody that comes and tells us, hey, because of this yoga class, because of this word that this teacher said, I changed and now I feel this way and that way and just so much better. That's really what keeps us going more than the money that we could be making.
Now that's interesting because honestly, that never occurred to me, but you are living a life of significance and changing people's lives when you might not think that is your main goal or, something that's really important as far as your goals go.
Yes. In the bank, my job was to make sure our money was counted, that everybody was making sales, that we were opening checking accounts, selling credit cards. But I was also in the customer service. So that was always behind my goal, right? Yes, I have to meet goals to get paid, but also how can I help the people that need this to grow their business? Maybe a business credit card, stuff like that. So it was always that. And at times I was that employee that's like, hey, you got to sell more. You can't be refunding, overdraft fees. I'm like, I know, but they had the compassion was always there. And so now that I get to do this for a living and, make some money out of it, it's just completely this is it. This is what I love.
And you just were led to do that.
What led me to do this?
No, you just were. You just had it in you. Yeah. So this is to our listeners. That is a very cool story. Don't give up on your dreams because they might just fall into place someday. And don't be afraid to take that step because I feel like that probably was a little bit scary after the first one fell through.
Yeah.
to, just pick up your puzzle pieces and then keep moving forward.
Yeah, to do it again. I mean, when we got that call that we were not buying it, I cried for like 10 minutes maybe. And then I'm like, that's it. This is all the crying I'm going to do. I got to move forward. I have vendors coming to my house, delivering props. I have staff I already hired. I have a schedule ready. So I need to keep going and find a way.
So let's talk about balance. Got the kids, have the studio. Tell me what that looks like.
Well, right now, as we're opening the new one and when we opened the first one, it looked more like my kids are being taken care of by grandma and grandpa. I have to focus more hours on the studio. When I'm done with that, I'll go back. So really, we try to. My husband has a full-time job. He works for Merrill Lynch. He's in banking still. And we have our kids that are now 12 and 11. And we have our families that help us out, but we include them in what we do. Like, we take them with us to the studio. We offer childcare for parents.
Oh, nice.
So they come with us, so they get to see what I do. We explain to them what we do, so they don't feel like, oh, mommy has to go to work. It's like, mommy's going to work to do this, and oh, how can I be a part of it? So they've always been in it. They take the classes, or my daughter's like, oh, I want to work there. I'm like, yeah, you will, one day. Yeah. But really just having family time where I won't answer my phone, because my phone is open 24/7 for our staff. I have almost 50 employees. And so there's always something going on. But when I tell them, I'm going to go on vacation, I'm going to be out of town, I'm going to go to dinner with my husband, don't call me, call the manager, putting that
boundaries. Yes, boundaries. I was actually talking to another guest about that recently. Yes. I think boundaries are really important, and we oftentimes forget about them. But if you're not adhering to them, things will really lack. Yeah. For me, when my kids were younger, they're older now, I did have a problem with that balance, and sometimes I felt like I was crushing it. Oh, I'm doing such a good job. And then other days I was like, oh, shoot, I'm failing. Yeah. I think that's kind of when you're opening a new studio, you probably feel like that a little bit. But you've got your village, your family, and that's important too, to be able to lean on those folks to help you through those more difficult times.
Yes. Yeah. We have my parents, they live in Tijuana, so they come and help us. My husband's parents, they live in Fresno, but they come down when we call them, like, hey, we need help with the kids. And just making time for them. Like, we feel like we're so busy between his job, my job, but okay, let's do date night. Like, for a while we started doing Friday date nights. We get pizza for the kids. We get dinner for us. We're still at home together, but we're having our time. Or let's just go to the movies or something, where my husband's like, but remember, we don't have time. We have to do this. I'm like, we're going to make time. It's just 2 hours. Let's get it done. Yeah. And then we'll feel better.
That's good. That's good. And that's, again, boundary, and then having that schedule too. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a woman starting a new business. Did you have any barriers for that? Or was it, I actually had someone, this is crazy, recently call me from some service organization, and they were asking me about things for my house. And I said, well, I'm really not interested. And they said to me, believe it or not, and I'm not married, do you think maybe we should come back and talk to your husband, or call you back and talk to your husband? I thought, well, that's crazy. What are you talking about? Do you ever experience that when you were starting your business?
Even with employees, it happened to me one time. Obviously, she doesn't work there, but she told me one time, oh, I know that you're just like here, but I know the business is really Eric's, my husband. And she was my staff. Like, he's not really involved in that part. But with vendors, I mean, I've really been doing most of the talking, right? When we were doing construction, obviously, well, it was all guys, the man that was in charge of the construction and all the construction workers. But maybe it's my personality that I'm always like, okay, let's get it done. Let's do it. And I'm not afraid, or I don't shy just because you're a man. It's like, okay, what are we doing today? Why are the walls still there? Why haven't we taken down the old speakers? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've never encountered it, and maybe it's because, again, I go into it with like, this is it, right? But I've had the situations where vendors, maybe not direct people that I work with, but somebody that, like you're saying, calls and like, oh, is it you? Are you the owner? Like, kind of like, who else is there? Or they see me and they look at me and they're like, you're not old enough.
I was just going to ask you that.
I mean, I'm going to be 41, but, they still look at me like, oh, is there somebody else above you? I've had competitors from other like yoga studio, stuff like that, like say things where they are trying to make me feel like, oh, you don't, you'll learn eventually. I'm like, well, I've been here for 6 years. I think I can do it. But I'm just, I never fight back. I'm always just very quiet about it. Like, okay, if that's what you want to think, cool.
Wow. So let's just take a pause on that for a moment. Let's pick up on that just shortly because we want to hear from our amazing sponsor.
SmartStop knows the winning connection is when we elevate success together. SmartStop Self-Storage, a California company with nearly 200 properties and over 15 million square feet of rentable storage in the US and Canada, is committed to positively impacting the communities we serve on the national and local level. By aligning our core principles of leading together, embracing change, and enhancing everyone's journey with local initiatives focused on education, health, and social welfare, we all elevate together. Through financial and strategic partnerships with nonprofits and prestigious organizations such as Cloudcast Media, Arrow McLaren IndyCar, Breast Cancer Research Foundation, Wounded Warrior Project, USC Athletics, the Brampton Steelheads, MMA fighters and boxers, and other unique athletes, we aim to foster a sense of unity and pride within the communities we serve, creating a shared identity and generating a positive atmosphere. To learn more about our core values, our locations, and career opportunities, please visit us at smartstopselfstorage.com. SmartStop, elevating success together.
So I actually want to talk about role models and mentors. So do you have any that you can kind of point to and say, hey, I learned this from them? And just keep in mind, I actually think you learn as much from a negative experience as you do a positive experience. So why don't you share a few things with us?
Correct. I can't think of like one person that I would say they're my role model. Obviously, my family, everybody has always been supportive. I look up to them and in the everyday life. But like you said, if I have to look at maybe people that have been around me in this journey, I learned so much from that experience of how the business owner just pulled out at the last minute. Yeah. Like you're saying, what do I learn from them that I don't want to repeat myself? I had a couple of not so nice bosses when I was at the bank. And I think I learned same thing, like what not to do. I always tell my employees, I've learned in my years of working how I don't want to be, what kind of boss I don't want to be. But really, anybody that has made something for themselves from nothing or from really working hard, that's really, the people that I would be drawn to learn from them. How did you make it? I know my husband's grandfather, he created his business and his family wealth from working really, really hard, kind of from nothing when he was young. And he was a big part of our journey because he's the one that funded us. He's the one that lent us the money so that we could open. And he passed away like 2 months before we opened. So he couldn't see what he did. Yeah. But he's always somebody that my husband looks up to, and I really respected him because he believed in us. Yeah. And, we'll always be grateful for that.
So I've actually had a lot of guests on the podcast talk about believing in themselves, and sometimes they had a difficult time doing that. What are your thoughts about that? Because you did mention that your, was it your father-in-law or your grandfather-in-law, so that he believed in you and maybe you didn't. So tell me about that.
Well, probably before this journey, before we started our studio, before, we went into our own construction, I think I was doubting myself. And it just came from when we were purchasing the other studio, we were going to become a franchise. And so the owner was like, I'm going to guide you through everything. I know you're new. You're not a yoga teacher. I'm going to hold your hand. You're going to come to me for everything. So as I was becoming a business owner, I was being led to believe that I had to be under someone to be my own boss.
A support system.
Yes, but not in the most positive way. It was like,
Right.
remember, you don't really know what you're doing, so I'll be here with you. So I was like, okay, yeah, I really don't know what I'm doing, but, they're going to help me. And as soon as, I guess, she cut the cord and was like, no, bye, that's when it just happened that, oh, well, maybe I can do it. Now I just have to prove it to myself. And I think ever since that's why it was like a huge, big, important part, that ever since that moment, I'm like, I'm calling this person and that person and the construction. And I just had to figure it all out myself. So now I feel like it's my job to do that to others. Teachers that come to me or employees that come to me saying like, one day I want to have my own studio. I'm like, come to me. I can tell you everything you need to know so you can do it. Instead of being like that of like, well, you don't know, I should be your hand to hold. It's like, no, I'm going to tell you what tips so you can go do it yourself.
So you're paying it forward of what you've actually learned. I love that.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times people won't take that time and effort because it's not easy teaching someone. But I think you're like me in this way. I happen to love to see people succeed.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing better than people getting to their highest potential. And you know what? There's a place for every single one of us,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I love that about you. I really do. I love that about you. So let's talk a little bit about what you're passionate about. I think it's helping others. I think that, and you're doing a different sort of service that's helping and supporting others. You're giving back to them. But that's important too. I mean, it really is. And that, there are all these other jobs that are considered, helping people. I think you're still doing it with what you're doing.
Like I said, yeah, my passion is I love to smile. Like I just, like that
It's
movie, right? I love
infectious.
smiling.
Yes, it's infectious.
I almost like would walk away from someone who's just like super serious and like me all the time, which I understand people have different reasons to not be smiling all the time. But I always try to make people laugh, like do a little joke. Or if somebody's having like a difficult moment, I'll immediately try to redirect it to, well, but what about this? Trying to find something that will make them remember that it's okay. I don't want to get into it because it would take a long time, but my husband was diagnosed with cancer, very advanced cancer 3 years ago, 2 years ago in 2021. And that was a big shock. And we didn't tell anybody. I kept working. I kept doing my thing. I kept teaching classes. It was during COVID times and we got through it. He's fine. He's great. But that was something that, again, we had to live, because now I can look back and be like, if we went through that and we still smiled through it, what else, right? It just seems like when there's something that's huge that could negatively impact your life, but then you still have reasons to smile, everything just seems like super easy. It's like, oh, you got a paper cut. Oh, wow, whatever. Like we went through cancer. It just gives you that perspective. And so even through that, we started, all of a sudden, we started seeing other people in the cancer journey. Let me refer you to the doctor. There's always a way, even in the worst or darkest times, to help, to be supportive, and to smile.
Girl, you don't even know what you just touched on. So my ex, in 2006, our kids were 6 and 10. Same thing. And he's still alive. We're, in 24.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed with advanced stage 4 prostate cancer, and it was a really scary thing. I did a lot of research, but I, like you, had people that said, hey, try this doctor, try that doctor. I actually had 3 people say, you've got to try this one doctor, because back then they were like, well, many of the doctors were just saying, he's just going to, we're going to give him palliative care, and that's all that we can do for him. It's, 2006 to now.
That's awesome.
Still doing pretty well. And, to actually pay that forward is so important, because that's one of the things that I have done so many times. And it brings hope to other people. And, sharing difficult times in our lives. And, I love the way you put this. You look back and you go, if we can get through that, we can get through anything. Yeah. and you know what? That is true. And I think there's so much hope in that and so much encouragement that you can give people that they might not even begin to, think about. It might not occur to them because, when you're living through that heavy of a time, it's so important to remember when it's happening that at some point in time, you're going to help other people.
Everything that we go through has a purpose, personally or at work or wherever we do it. We were already involved in like cancer foundations, doing donations, doing events, mostly pediatric cancer, right? Because my kids are little and we knew about stories of children. And so, but when that happened to us, it was even more. And then for him, it was a colorectal cancer. So I was going around telling everybody, you better get checked. You better get checked. And everybody has, stomach issues or gastro issues. And it's like, I'm like, don't let it, like, more of an advocate than we already were. And that's what also led me to be part of Make-A-Wish now. Not that Make-A-Wish is cancer, but it does happen that there's kids with cancer. And so now I'm a speaker for them and I'm a wish granter volunteer. And, that's my job where I let people like, tell me what do you want me to do? How can I help? And so I do that on my, I would say spare time, not really spare time. I make time for them, but that's a big thing we're involved in right now, or I am involved in.
Again, paying it forward. I love that. So, okay, so you walk into a room, all these young women there. What are some lessons learned that you would share with them that you think are so valuable that they might not think about and might not occur to them?
I think just reminding them that they don't need to depend on anybody else to get through something or to achieve something, because even though we do need community and, like you said, support and helping each other, it really, everything comes from inside when you really, really, really want it. And I know every situation will be different and there are situations where it's harder than others, but just knowing that we all have the tools to do everything. It's just a matter of how much I wanted, how can I break the barriers, or how can I educate myself to defeat those barriers? Or is it just not the time and it's okay to step back and learn and observe and then go forward full force again?
Yeah, because I always tell people, staying put because it feels safe and comfortable is not how you're ever going to actually get something done. I mean, if you would have just said, oh gosh, I got crushed. The first time it didn't work out. I spent 6 months of my life planning and going through this whole stage where I was ready to execute. And then the rug honestly got kind of pulled out from under you. And then you said, okay, well, you know what? We're going to move forward and we're going to do it in a different way because the opportunity presented itself. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone feels like they can do it. How would you tell them to take a tough situation like that where you had it? I mean, like, what are some things that you were thinking at that moment that you could share with our listeners? I think it's a really exciting thing that you're sharing right now.
I think one of the things was to know why I was doing it, because I didn't want it to be like, oh, well, they cancel me, I'm going to show them. That's the wrong way of doing things. So my husband and I had the conversation of why, because he did ask me like, why? Just let it go. Like, it didn't happen. We tried. It's okay. That's fine. Not that he was giving up, but he didn't want to see me. He looked at me like, upset at that time. So he probably wanted me to chill, calm down, and then maybe go into another venture another time.
Right.
So I really had to figure out, why am I doing it? So finding the why, is it like a vengeance or like a get back at someone? Or is it that that's your true passion? And it really, at the moment, and still now, it felt like my passion. Same thing with our second studio. I already had comments of, oh, why did you have to take over when there was old studios there? Like, what are you trying to prove? Or why don't you just stay where you are? It's not because the other studio was there and I wanted to, oh, now I'm here, haha. Not at all. It's because there's a need for the community to have more yoga there. And since everybody was already coming to me, it just makes sense. It's not easy. It's not fun. We had to take loans again, the sleepless nights. But it'll be worth it because we see the results with how our clients feel.
And their lives. How you're changing their lives. I love that. So what's next for you?
What's next? Well, I really would love, my end goal would be to, at some point, turn these studios into maybe a nonprofit. And my goal is to have a foundation where I can do events and reach out so that I can support different organizations. Like I said, Make-A-Wish, we're part of the T1D. My son has type 1 diabetes, so we are involved in that with the JDRF, more involved with cancer. We went to Africa last year and Conservancy, like we went to see the last 2 northern white rhinos. It was my 40th birthday. Wow. And I got to touch them and I got to be with them and I got to experience real life, like Lion King real life of what we're doing to the planet, right? Just because there's like not enough giraffes, not enough lions.
Right.
So how can I help just the world? I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy maybe for some people, like I want to change the world, but really, how can I in my, 40 years left make a little difference? And not because I want people to say, oh, she did it, just because I want to do it.
Right. Well, not 40 years. You're going to live longer than that. if it's only 40 years, oh gosh, my days are numbered. Okay. So here's honestly, when you were talking and I was just listening to you, this is what came into my mind. Tragedy to triumph.
I like
Crazy. It. I am so excited for you. I cannot wait to see what you do next. I really think you are going to change your part of the world. And I often think, even though sometimes your influence is a very small area, you change 10 people's lives, 100 people's lives, whatever it actually is. They go out and they remember that and they share it with others. So keep doing what you're doing. Love your energy and your excitement, and really excited to see. We need to be in touch with you to know what you're gonna, how things turn out.
Oh yeah, I'll keep you updated for number 3.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learn how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with CEO host Rebecca Jones.
The incredible curated CEO conversation you just enjoyed was brought to you by SmartStop, a leader in self-storage real estate and a company that upholds its core principles of leading together, embracing change, and enhancing everyone's journey. To learn more about SmartStop, please visit smartstopselfstorage.com.
Cloudcast Media.